All right, good morning, everybody. Shalom, everybody, and thank you for joining our fourth episode of Our Health is Our Wealth. Today we have an honorary guest, Brother Fast Nickel. he's not new to these YouTube streets. You can catch him on his YouTube. What is your YouTube, Brother Fast Nickel? So I make sure that I say it correctly.
It's Fast Nickel 1965.
Well, you guys can check Brother Fast Nickel at Fast Nickel.
Well, definitely my website. They can just go to learncrypto101.info.
Yes. All right. So, I guess, Brother Fast Nickel, you want to lead it off with us?
Sure. So, everyone, I was asked to come on. I was graciously asked, and of course, I accepted to come on today. And I was thinking about what should I talk about? And it came to my mind, my spirit, to talk about mindset. And mindset has to do with a lot of things. So let me just go through the presentation, but at the same time, I definitely want to have some engagement with everyone. So ladies, are you able to see my screen?
No. Oh,
no.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to, I guess, allow it.
Let's see.
Or if you need to, if it's easier on your end, if you have to present it, and I'll just tell you next.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, I can see it in the background. Sorry, y'all. I'm still new to this. Don't worry. Media assets. I can see yours. I can see it. Oh, present maybe.
Oh, you know what? Thank you.
Is there any way maybe you could request access?
I know that when I'm on with Brother Yakoba, but I think it's live, but your question, so your Quest Unite Africa banner is in the way.
Okay, I got me. Okay, let me see if I can get you.
I like your avatar there.
Thank you.
That's perfect mindset of riches.
Yes, exit solo. Why would it switch to you? Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, let me see if I'm making this bigger. Okay, there we go. Mindset. But I don't want it to play. So let me just see something. Let me just check something real quick. We have to ask everybody to apologize for our.
I'm not sure if my mic is working.
Okay, 1 second.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm I'm going to unshare the screen and reshare a different screen. Okay, so now whatever you did, can you now let me in again?
Sure. Let me see. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there you go. So we are in action, ladies. Let's do this. So again, we're going to talk about mindset. And hopefully I will be able to see any comments, but ladies, just look in the chat to see if anyone has any questions as I'm presenting, and maybe you might want to push them up on the screen so everybody can see the question.
Okay.
We definitely want some interaction. I know it's early, so I hope everybody had some coffee. I didn't have any coffee, but what I did this morning is I went ahead and had some watermelon juice with some tea, and I'm ready to go.
Very good. As electrolytes.
Yes. So mindset. The question to ask is, how do you accumulate wealth? And remember, wealth can mean a lot. It doesn't always have to be money. Wealth, you hear the term all the time, wealth is health. Health is wealth, right? So wealth, we're talking about money in this particular case, but it's really about mindset. So that can deal with your health as well. So the four important things or nouns to remember is income, expenses, liability, and assets. Income is money you make. Expenses is money you spend. Liability is cost you money, and assets pay you money. We have three classes of people: the poor, the middle class, and the wealthy. Poor people and poor people with poor mindsets, what do poor people do when they get paid? So, Sister Stephanie, Sister Darlene, when poor people tend to get paid, what, in your thought, what do they probably do when they get paid?
Bills.
Pay the bills.
I pay my bills.
Okay, they pay their bills.
Yeah.
Maybe they go out to eat, go to a movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They buy stuff. They tend to buy shoes, clothes, fast food, games, etc. Stuff they found cheap at a flea market, garage sale, dollar store, Walmart. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Their houses are full of junk. They take money from income, meaning the money that when they got paid, that income, and they spend it. So now it becomes an expense. It's very easy to fall into this trap. Everywhere we look, there are things to buy. This is what makes the world go round. The problem is, after years of working, you have nothing to show for it. The little things add up because you took all that income and you just spent it, and you didn't really save up a nest egg. So with poor people, the belief is that you make money to spend it and you save to buy. And what do they buy? They buy big ticket items. So what might be a big ticket item that a person buys?
One of the worst ones are TVs.
Okay, it could be a TV. I was thinking bigger than that. I'm thinking more house.
Car.
Yeah, because nowadays TVs aren't that expensive.
Right.
So maybe a car, maybe a house. That's a big ticket item.
Mm-hmm.
The poor never let their money create money. This isn't a character flaw, and it's not wrong. It just puts us in a terrible cycle. Shabbat shalom to you, Sister Vanetta. So creating wealth is not a secret, it's a recipe. So think about that. It's not a secret, it's a recipe. And I'm going to show you why I said that. So to create wealth, you must know this recipe and you must use it. So Sister Coco G will tell you, I'm no cook. I will not win any Michelin star award for my cooking, that's for sure. So I never baked cupcakes because I never learned, never had, and never tried. Not only do you need the recipe, but you need to use it. Amen, Brother Sean. Now, the middle class people, some think they are rich because they make a good salary and have a good job. They make a six-figure income, but what they buy with their money is what keeps them stuck in middle class. Coco G laughing at me, huh? Middle class people usually buy liabilities. So liability is something that costs you money. Middle class people buy big houses, they go on vacations, they buy nice cars, and they pay for it on credit. Would you ladies agree?
Yes.
Sure, yes.
So each month, it's a new purchase that just adds more to your monthly bills and expenses. So as an example, let's say you had $15,000 a month. You pay your monthly expenses, which could be your mortgage or your rent. Let's say you're a fancy apartment, your food, your lifestyle. So you spend $7,000 on food and lifestyle, another $7,000 on a car. You put a few $1,000s down. These people tend to live on credit cards. Their monthly debts begin to catch up, and then they become trapped because their monthly income is a big cycle. So I like to call it golden shackles. You keep buying liabilities that cost them every month. And so you're trapped by the very items that they bought to make them happy. So now you're stressed out. You're like, oh my gosh, I make all this money, but I don't have anything to show for it because I'm in this I'm on this, what do they call it? The hamster wheel. So now, because they have to make more money the next year for school, vacations, or whatever, and put those liabilities on a credit card. Pastor Rick Flesher says he has a pair of golden shackles. I think we all do. So the poor and the middle class, they get trapped because they are in a situation where the only way to make more money is by trading their time for it. But remember, we only have 24 hours in a day. So regardless if you make $10 an hour or if you make $100 an hour, you still have to trade your time for it. So fast food workers still have to serve food. Brain surgeons still have to see patients. These people can become workaholics because now they're working to pay their bills. The difference is, instead of buying stuff and liabilities, what do you think the wealthy buy? Don't worry about that. I'll answer it for you. The wealthy buy assets, something that pays you, So they use their money to buy assets, which helps make more money. Here's why, before I continue, let me explain to you why that is very important. We live in a debt-based system. So if you, I went on to ChatGPT a month ago or two to do this, and I did it 2 days ago, and basically the same number came up. If you took if somebody gave you $1,000 and you put that in the bank January 1st of 2020, and you didn't touch it, January 1st, 2026, you would need to add $280 to that $1,000 to equal the value of what $1,000 was worth in 2020 because of inflation. So I know a lot of people are afraid to invest, but to be honest with you, you have to invest. You must buy assets, something that pays you, whether it be crypto, whether it be stocks, whether it's property. You must put your money somewhere that you're getting yield from, because the system is meant to keep you poor, and everything goes up in life except your paychecks. A lot of times we're not fortunate to work at a job where every year they'll give you a rate of inflation increase in salary. Most places won't do that. So the one thing that you rely on, you're not getting an increase. So you have to take the bull by the reins yourself and invest. So as I said, you want to buy assets. You might want to buy some stocks, some bonds, cryptocurrency, real estate, expensive jewelry like watches, like a Rolex watch. A lot of people may not realize that, but watches, Rolex, as an example, they are investments, fine art. Insurance, a lot of rich buy insurance. These are investments. So think investments are buying something, then hope it goes up in value. So when you buy something and hope that it goes up in value, this is trading, this is gambling. This is what the poor and middle class do. And to this point, this is what I tell people when it comes to cryptocurrency. When you look at crypto as an example, you say, oh my gosh, the markets are down, my portfolio is down. And instead of looking at your portfolio, you need to be looking at the bigger picture and say to yourself, hey, why am I buying this item? Is it a good investment? So just to give you an example, back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, pre-2020, I was buying silver. Not all, when I would get paid, maybe I'd buy one silver coin. But I was paying, most of the time I was paying less than $20 for an ounce of silver. Occasionally I might go and have to pay $22 to $24, but generally speaking, it was always less than $20. But silver, as you all know, silver doesn't go up in value in a large rate. But I knew it was a great investment, and I knew that over time it would go up. I didn't buy it thinking, oh my gosh, in a month it's going to double it in price. No, I bought it as a long-term investment. And now those people who have silver are reaping the benefits, because as of yesterday, when I looked, silver now is at $72. And I was reading an article that silver next year, by the end of next year, it could be as high as $300, because they found some new technology with electric cars that they need silver. And with this new technology, with these silver batteries, they're going to be able to get 600 miles to a fill up, and they're going to be able to get a full charge in 9 minutes. So they're talking reports that silver by the end of next year could be as high as $300 an ounce. They're even talking, and this might be maybe 5 years, but they're even talking $35,000 an ounce of silver. So patience pays off for those that own silver. So that's the same thing with investing. When I tell people about crypto, I'm telling you to buy something because you like the project. Like when people laughed at me at XRP, I was telling them for years XRP is going to make you rich. And now, although XR, and this is not any financial advice, but even though XRP is less than $3, I'm telling you, XRP is the golden ticket. But I have conviction, and the reason I have conviction is because I've done my homework. I believe in the project. So whatever you invest in, let's say it's a house. Let's say you bought a house and you knew that the house was not in great shape, but you knew what they were going to do in the area in terms of development. You knew what their 5-year plan was. So you didn't necessarily buy it to think, oh, I'm going to flip it. You said, I'm going to buy it because I know in 5 years I'm going to quadruple my investment. So you're thinking long term. You're not trying to gamble and like a lot of people do with the lottery and play lotto and hoping that they're going to hit $1 million, because we know that type of thinking you're going to fail more times than not. So how wealthy divine investment is buy assets. Instead of buying something they hope goes up in value, the wealthy buy assets that pay them now. They buy bonds that pay them monthly, buy real estate that pay them monthly, and they buy stocks that pay them monthly. And a lot of us, unfortunately, none of this is taught to you in school. A lot of us don't have friends or family that necessarily have these kind of conversations. So most people are not necessarily privy to this mindset. Now, the other two types of assets are education or business. Education is a kind of asset. If you learn how to do something, you can use it to make money. So for instance, those people who are doctors, they learn a skill to earn money. If you think education is expensive, you should see how expensive ignorance is. And, we all know that having an education of any kind is worth its weight in gold. Or if you don't want to invest in an education, maybe you invest in a business. You buy or create an asset that is a business, especially a business that can create passive income. A business that can pay you even after you stop working. Then you have a true asset. My brother-in-law, I remember this back in 2001, we would be sitting in my basement talking about we want to do things that pay us while you're sleeping. So as an example, let's say you like to cook, because a lot of people like to cook. So let's say somebody decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to write a cookbook. And now you take that cookbook and make it an ebook and you put it up on Amazon and you now are selling it. You are literally making money when you sleep. Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding. Exactly. Because remember, it's not only a case of knowing this, but it's also a case of putting it into action. The great Robert Kiyosaki once said, "You rent where you own, and you live where you rent." Ladies, do you understand what that concept is?
Rent where you own, live where you rent. Kind of. Kind
Okay.
of.
So for anyone that doesn't, let's say you were blessed and someone left you $1 million,
Well,
and
goodness.
you said to yourself, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to take that $1 million and buy myself a beautiful $800,000 house." Okay, that's the mindset of most people, correct? Would you say
Yes,
that they
I
would
would
just,
say, yes, I would say that too.
yeah,
But they don't realize also that the more you have, the more it takes to maintain it if you're not financially structured.
yeah, but you've got to make, no matter what, how much the house costs, whether it costs 100,000 or 800,000 or 8 million, you still got to maintain it. But
Right. But you have to have the money to maintain it. I mean, if you overextend yourself, that's what I'm trying to say. If you overextend yourself
okay,
in debt and you have that house and something happens where you can't afford it, if you can pay cash for it, then that's one thing. But
okay,
if you have to keep the upkeep and pay the taxes on that, and you don't have it, that's another um, problem that you will have.
okay.
Mhm.
So let me, so Coco G says buy a 3 or 2 family home. So I'm going to agree with Coco G more in this case. So, because think about this. What if you bought $100,000 house? You might say, so okay, I can afford that because I've got all this extra money to cover all the bills every month, etc. But that's still not the way that's not a proper use of your money. So when you rent where you own and live where you rent, what that means is, instead of buying a house to live in, as Coco G said, let's say you instead buy a two or three, let's say you buy a three apartment complex, right? So now let's say you spent 750,000 and you bought a 3 building complex and you rent out 2 of them and you live in the third one. So now by doing that, possibly the rent that you're charging to the other two homeowners or the renters, you're charging enough to where their rent alone is covering the monthly mortgage on that building. And so now you are technically living rent free because you don't have to pay rent either, because the rent you're collecting from the other 2 tenants is covering the mortgage on that apartment. Also, instead of spending your money, and this is what I discussed with crypto, don't be so quick to spend your money to buy. You can always use what you have as leverage so that you're not spending your money. This is what the rich people do. They don't spend their money. They use ways to leverage what they have. So, for instance, they may be getting a high interest yield on something that the yield they're earning covers their bills. So now, technically, they're not having to come out of pocket to pay for things. And so that's the mindset you want to have. So we need to change our mindset, and that just means don't don't always think that, oh, I have the money, let me spend it. You could always figure out creative ways to use what you have to leverage to get what you need without spending that money. Or if you have to invest it in a way that is earning you enough yield to cover your bills. I know it's easier said than done, and if you have not been doing this in the past, I'm not here to tell you or that you should expect to change that mindset overnight. But what I'm doing here is at least helping you to think about what I'm saying and look at what you're doing currently with your money that you earn, and what can you do to make it work better for you. Ladies, do you have any questions? Anybody have any question in the chat?
See any just yet. You can wait just a little bit.
So Sister Barbara says she's working on getting her business started. That's a great idea, because now she's got a form of income. You don't have to worry about somebody calling you into HR telling you that they've dissolved your position. You're your own boss.
I do have a question. Like once it probably should be, I guess, towards the end of your presentation.
I'm at the end.
Oh, okay. I do have a question. So since I guess investing can be treated, of course, like actual money, can you use your investments or put your investments in like a trust, like a living trust?
Yes, that's a great idea. By doing that, I don't know if you've ever heard this term. There's a term, own nothing but control everything. That is what the wealthy do by putting their assets in trusts. This way, so you might do a prenup before you get married. But if you have assets in a trust before you even get married, my belief is that you don't even need to worry about a prenup, because nothing is in your name. So Pastor Rick says, I invest casually and carelessly in crypto. No organized, coherent strategy. That's my deal. So Pastor Rick, that's why you need to come to Learn Crypto 101. And I'm more than certain there are people in the chat that are part of my weekly Q&As. So when you come to Learn Crypto 101, if you want to learn anything about crypto, as an example, if you know nothing about crypto, until the end of next week, I have this video course that's $24 that will teach you how to buy crypto, how to sell it, how to transfer it from wallet to wallet, how to locate cryptocurrencies, and how to protect your investment. $24 investing in yourself is not a lot of money. Everybody should want this if you know nothing about crypto. Then there are also my weekly memberships, where for $9.99, which is literally, you're talking about $2.50 a week. I mean, that's less than a cup of coffee. In these weekly Q&As, I go over questions. I'm constantly teaching, and a lot of people love my exclusive. That's right, don't touch it yet. Exclusive, where now they have access to all my learning materials, such as these courses here. Instead of having to pay for them, you now have exclusive access to them through the membership. And my consulting, if you're not part of my memberships, my consulting is $90 an hour. But part of my exclusive membership, I give you one-on-one consulting when needed included. So it's everybody who's been in it. I'm more than certain they will all tell you it's been well worth it. They have learned a lot. I'm not here to tell people how to invest their money, but you definitely want to invest in something. Isn't a private trust more advantageous than a living trust? I don't personally know. That's more of a question for Sister Shaw, but I will tell you this. I did a presentation with my members, and if you're not a part, let me see if did I have it here. I don't have it here. I might have to add it. So I have something that I charge $9. It's a 15-page PDF that will show you how to set up an LLC with total anonymity. I always have a hard time with that word, but look, so I'm having trouble transferring from my Ledger Nano S to my bank account. Okay, so these are the kind of questions that not only do I answer in my courses, I actually walk you through it. So if you guys know, if you've ever taken the time, that no one really on the internet is doing this. And so I do it because I love to do it, but I also feel a little bit compelled to be there to help our people because no one really is out there helping us. So it's well worth it. And if you want to learn about crypto, you definitely, in my opinion, should either get the course or at least become part of my memberships. So that is my informative, hopefully, insight of the day. Ladies, do you have any questions? Other questions? Anybody else have any question in the chat? Any question on mindset?
I guess my question would be, and it's kind of a loaded question, right? So since we are in these trying times,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to get a lot worse, for lack of better words, would you say that crypto and investments and buying resources and assets as well as gold and silver would be more advantageous than I guess stockpiling the money that we do have, or like what would be more a secure investment?
So anything is better than putting money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So Pastor Rick is I'm trying to put a link in the chat, but if you come to learn, it's not allowing me to put it in the chat. So maybe ladies, you can do it,
Let me
or
try it. I could do it.
okay. Let me also, I'll put it in the private chat. Maybe you can post it in the normal chat.
Okay, I see it. Let me see.
There you go. So when you come to learn Crypto 101, this is what you'll see. And if you know nothing about crypto, I would recommend that you buy this course. At least this course gives you a little bit of foundation. Now, the beauty of this is under the memberships are not basically it's $10 a month or $25 a month. All of my members all do the 24 because of the value. So regardless which one you do, you're definitely part of the weekly Q&As that we have on Monday nights, and you have access to all the replays. But the difference is you have access to all my learning materials. This is the only thing, this course for absolute beginners is the only thing you don't have access to. But all of these items down here, the Learn Crypto 101. So as an example, back in April, I had a live 10-week course that was a little over $300, and you have access to this. You have access to all of these courses and some. So when you go to my memberships, matter of fact, hopefully one day next week, I'm going to be on with Brother Yacoba, and we're going to talk about DeFi. So that's something I'm going to talk a little bit more on Monday with my members. But DeFi is a very, when do I spend for your info for setting up? So I'll come back here in a few minutes and I will make it access. I will access it here for everyone. But the mentally not having your finances in check brings on mental stresses that bring on illness. That's very true.
I agree, Coco G. I definitely agree.
Yeah,
Because your
that's
body
very
doesn't
true.
understand stress. I mean, it does understand, but the way that it reacts, it doesn't understand between physical or mental stress. It just knows stress and then it'll react how it reacts.
Yes.
So I know Coco G comes every week. Is there anybody else in the chat that has done part of my Q&As? Maybe you can, which one is not? So the basic membership is $9.99. So the basic one, so when you sign up for either one of these, so Proverbs 31, be 1,000,000% honest. Has it been worth it for you? Hi, Juanita. So when you become a member, you have access to the membership dashboard. So when you come to the membership dashboard, if you're the basic member, you only have access to the weekly Zoom meetings, but you have access to all the past meetings. But when you're a member of the exclusive, you also get access to all the collections. So all the stuff that I am constantly uploading to teach you how to do things, or where you come to the video on demand. So as an example, this video on demand, the $300 course that I was charging for back in April, you now have access to it right here. But not only do you have access to it, I also have all of the Q&A where I went over it. So now, not only can you watch all the courses, you can watch the commentary where I break down the courses. So to help you learn if you are not that knowledgeable in crypto. So when you come to the membership and you are part of the exclusive membership, you have access to all these things. So for instance, this is a presentation that I'm going to be doing next week on Brother Yacoba about DeFi. DeFi is so important because with cryptocurrency, what they're doing with the financial system is, for those who take the time, you're going to be able to become your own bank. And it's such a breakthrough in what's going on in finance, but most people don't even know about this. So these are the kind of things that I'm teaching our people about, because it's all about what does the Bible say? Our people fail for lack of knowledge. So Proverbs 31, who Sister Juanita, she is part of it, and her and her husband, she is much more knowledgeable in crypto/stocks, more so stocks, and her and her husband have been learning. But I think what most people love the most is they have access to me. I will tell you, this is true story. I mean, I have literally lost easily 10. I've had $100,000 in crypto at one point in my life, but because I didn't really know or understand what I was doing, I've lost a lot. I mean, I got scammed where I lost 3,000 on one thing. I lost 3,000 on another thing. I could easily think of right off the top of my head, easily um, about $8,000 that I've lost just because I didn't know any better. So I try my best to help teach you to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that anybody who's an OG in crypto, we've all lost money because we had nobody to turn to. It's the Wild West. You kind of learn as you go. Okay, so Pastor Rick says he has been approached about multi-level marketing of cryptocurrency. So there was one thing I was involved with years ago that I guess would be considered multi-level marketing. It actually worked, but I mean, when it comes to the term multi-level marketing, anyone who's ever done any type of multi-level marketing knows it's the people at the top that make all the money. So the further you are to the bottom, you're not really making any money. And that's just the way multi-level marketing goes, no matter what it is.
So I have a question. So how did you change your mindset for those, I guess, that, want to elevate themselves and don't want to be caught on the wrong side of history? How did you change your mindset? And then I have another question after that.
Sure. So it's funny, the presentation that I showed you all, I put that together a year ago when I started doing my YouTube channel, but all of my notes to that, I put them together in 2016. I was listening to somebody on YouTube and it sparked the same way, the same way you heard, we all heard something at one point in our life that gave us that epiphany about our new structured belief system. Because of this channel, I'm being a little vague in how I talk here, but it was just the right time, right moment where someone gave me some information, and instead of me pushing it off, I said, hey, you know what? That makes a little sense. Let me look more into it. And when I got into crypto, because I realized the system is rigged. At the time, crypto wasn't rigged. And at the same time, I looked at crypto when people were telling me, oh, it's a fad, it's a scam, it's this, it's that. I said, you know what? You have to think like owners in the NBA or NFL. They draft kids out of college and give them millions of dollars before they played one game. So think about it. They are no different than a stock or crypto. So that owner put millions of dollars into that player because of perceived potential. They saw something in that kid that said, you know what? I know that he's going to make me a lot of money. They did their homework. They did their homework on their family life, on how their mindset, everything, and their health. Those are the kind of things that they do on a player. That's the same thing you do with a crypto. So for instance, I know that this wasn't about crypto, but as an example, when you come to a place like CoinMarketCap and you decide that you want to buy a crypto, I'll just use, let's see, I'll use Stellar. I'll use even Ethereum. So to give you an example, if XRP was the very first crypto I bought, the second one was Ethereum, but I bought Ethereum at $9 because when I went to Ethereum and when I went to their website and I started doing some research on Ethereum, I realized that they were owned by Google's parent company, Alphabet. And then I saw that the Bilderberg Group, I don't know how many people have heard of the Bilderberg Group, but the Bilderberg Group were investors. And I knew that anything that the Bilderbergs get involved with, it doesn't fail. So that was the homework I did. The same way these owners do the homework on these players before they draft them. That's investing. That's the difference between investing and gambling. So Sister Barbara says, I wish she had gotten into Bitcoin when it first started. So let me just say to that question, I bought my first and only Bitcoin in March of 2017 for $1,100. And because I was listening to somebody on the internet, I didn't truly understand what he meant. So he was talking about when you should sell it. So I wind up selling it at $900, thinking that it was going to drop in price so that I can then buy back in cheaper. But instead, it went from 900 and then a few minutes later jumped up to 1,300. And I never got in again to owning a Bitcoin. So because I didn't understand, I missed out on that opportunity. I owned a full Bitcoin for a matter of minutes or an hour, but it came down to just knowledge. Sister Stephanie, you had another question?
I did, but after listening, I think you've answered it.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a question. I have a comment that last week, Brother Fast Nickel jacked me up. I guess we were talking about a opportunity, and in my mind, I directly went to problem solving, and so he really got me in check with how I need to change my mindset. And it wasn't fear or anything. It's just how I'm always kind of looking at the steps ahead of what could happen instead of staying in, okay, let's just ride it out and see how the Most High is going to bless it. But I've always been the type of person and was, I guess, growing up in the era that I did, that debt is not your friend. So it was, I tried to stay out of I'm saying credit card debt and stuff like that, by not overextending myself. But I did get into some XRP, and I am excited about getting on, hooking up more with Brother Fast Nickel to explore where I need to go at this point. So, yep, I just want to say I got jacked up last week. So,
So Sister Stephanie, it was a funny conversation. So I was on a conversation with Sister Darlene and Sister Coco G, and it was in regards to adding her to the WhatsApp group, the same one that I added you to for her business, just to help give her some exposure. But it was so funny because she didn't really have to do anything, but I guess the wheels were churning in her head. And I finally had to say, Sister Charlene. She goes, what, Brother Pastor? I said, stop. Think about what you're saying. I said, I'm giving you an opportunity. You don't have to even do anything, but you're talking yourself out of it. That's the wrong mindset to have. So she said, thank you. She didn't even realize. And you know, Sister Shaw, if you guys remember on one of her calls, you know, a lot of this is part of generational curse, you know, because of what's happened in our lives, you know, our parents' lives, their parents. We don't have the proper mindset. We haven't been around, you know, we are who we hang out with. So growing up, you know, most of us grew up in the streets and, you know, in the big cities. We didn't have people to learn from. I remember growing up, I remember talking to my brother one day, and we are talking about, you know, when you grow up, sometimes your parents will tell you, hey, you want to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer. In my case, I always wanted to be a baseball player. But, you know, to tell somebody from the streets you want to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer when the people that they see making money are drug dealers. Like, you might say to yourself, because you don't come from that environment, you would say, how would they want to do that? But that's all that they're exposed to. You are what you're exposed to. So if you're not exposed to people helping you understand about investing, it's natural not to know about it. So that's why it comes down to just mindset.
Question. I think the question came back. Would you say that majority of the people on the continent are using crypto? I mean, obviously this is a worldwide thing, but for those who maybe have a heart set on moving there voluntarily or involuntarily, will crypto and other investments be
Yes,
I guess honored there?
so it's already honored there, but it will be because this is part of the new financial transition. And, you know, this is something that Brother Karras has mentioned, you know, having the three things, when you're ready to leave the US, whether it be to the continent, the Caribbean, wherever you're going, even South America, you want to set up a Wise account, maybe a SoFi account, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head what the third one. But I have a Wise account, I have a Wise digital, and a Wise physical card. And the reason why that's important is because when you go over to the continent and you're using your banking card at an ATM, they'll hit you with a 40% fee.
A 40% fee?
Yes.
That's wicked.
I'm sorry. That is wicked.
So if you have a Wise card, so for instance, my Wise card, let me show you guys something.
I'm about to drop a link in the chat as well.
Let me show you. Let me do this. Okay. Okay. So this is my Wise account. I just want to show you this as an example. I was showing this to somebody just in my member class. So I have $5 in my US account, but I also have, even though I don't have any money here, but I have it Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, and Vietnamese dong. So if I were to go to Tanzania tomorrow, I can just easily take the $5 that I have in US dollars and convert it into my Tanzania dollars. the same way I teach you in crypto how to convert from Ethereum to Bitcoin, etc. Think of it the same way. I'm just converting my US dollar to Tanzania so that now when I go to Tanzania, I'm using my Tanzanian dollars and I'm not worrying about paying those additional fees that they're charging. There you go. Wise is great because and you can set up, these are just a couple that I set up, but you can hit the plus and you can add any currency you want. You can just add a currency right to it. So if you're looking to go to travel outside the US, you definitely want to set up something like this because you don't want to pay those fees, the ATM fees.
Exactly.
Right. And Brother
Yeah.
Fast Nickel, I set up a Wise account, but I believe my bank stopped the transaction from, I'm changing banks, but from going through, so I wasn't able to like put money into it. So I need to work on that.
Yes.
Hmm.
So somebody asked that info on Shiba Inu. Only info I can tell you is I'm waiting for Shiba Inu to go back up so I can sell it. Shiba Inu, actually, no, you know what? They're talking about a Shiba Inu ETF. So if that happens in the next year or two, then my Shiba Inu will go up in value. So that's the talk that they're gonna do a Shiba, because they're gonna do all kinds of ETFs. So and Shiba Inu is on the slate to be an ETF. And for anyone who doesn't know, there are crypto ETFs. ETFs are great if you're into stocks, but I will tell you that it's better to own the actual asset, the actual crypto. But if you are more comfortable in stocks, you can always buy stock or crypto. But now you have the ability to buy stock in crypto. So for instance, when you go to xstocks.com, this is you've heard them say it, they've tokenizing everything. So they've already tokenized stocks and ETFs. So for instance, Netflix, Robinhood, Coinbase, these are tokenized versions of the stock. So an ETF, what does an ETF stand for? I forgot what an ETF. An ETF is I'm looking for the definition of an ETF. 1 second, so that I can tell you all definition.
Exchange traded fund.
Exchange traded fund. Thank you. So with a ETF, so for those people who don't like crypto, you can do an exchange. So it's kind of like a mutual fund where there's a basket. There tend to be a basket of currencies in that fund. So the beauty of it is that while some go down, some go up, you're not in this case where when it goes down, your whole portfolio goes down. But in terms of XRP as an example, if you're more into stocks and you want to buy an XRP ETF, there's nothing wrong with that, but you are way much better. That's horrible English, but you are way better off buying the actual crypto, just like silver and gold. Yes, you can buy paper silver and gold from the stock market, but you're better owning the physical silver and gold because, as we say in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. The same here. You hear the term ownership is 9/10 of the law. So
Mhm.
if you own silver, it's just like money in the bank. Money in the bank is not technically yours. I mean, yes, you set up a bank account, but it's technically not yours. If that bank shuts its doors or they tell you that we're closing your account, now you don't have access to any of that money that was in the account. So the way it is now, because they're not giving you any money on your interest, you're better off keeping your money under your mattress because at least it's in your possession. But you can see they're already tokenizing everything. So these are cryptocurrency versions of the stocks. They are the same prices as regular stock, but you can buy them in a crypto format. It's all about knowledge, just having knowledge. You know, I'll tell you, this is a story. This happened, I think it was in 2014. It might have been 2014. So, as an example, at the time, I was only paying liability on my car, but I wanted to rent a car. You know, when you go to a car rentals, they always want to get you to pay for their insurance.
Mhm.
Well, my spirit told me to call up my insurance and get full coverage for the 3 days that I was going to rent. And this way, the car was covered. The car that I was renting was going to be covered, would be covered under my insurance. Now, I called my insurance just to verify all this. But what I'm getting at, instead of me paying the $20 a day that the car rental was going to charge me, it only cost me less than $10 for the whole time just to add those 3 days to my policy. So that was a case of just being smart and use my insurance that I'm already paying for to cover my rental. And so Coco G says there are some high yield coins, and that is true. So there are coins. So we have what's called staking, where you can stake and you can earn yield because people on Wall Street, all they care about is yield. They want to just know, because this is going back to what I said when we started with inflation. If you're not earning yield, you're never going to catch up because of inflation. Yes, yes, XRP is the golden ticket. I have been saying that for years. It is the golden ticket. And there's another coin that I'm telling my memberships on Monday. Again, this is not financial advice, but I'm telling them about another coin that it's not the golden ticket, but it's kind of the golden. Trust me, you want to load up on because XRP is the golden ticket. So, ladies,
That's the question.
I don't know how long you want to stay on. I'm available as long as you want, but I know this is your show, so whatever you want to do, I'm okay with.
It's Q2UA show, but I did have one question. Like, y'all forbid, right?
Uh-huh.
The grid goes down, and technically this is like electronic. So, like, what do you do?
So here's my thought. I don't think the grid from on a global scale, I don't think you're welcome. I don't think it is going down because they're moving everything to digital, everything electronic. Because remember, if the grid goes down, it affects everybody.
Exactly.
So I don't see that happening. Or at least, you know, you you know, Starlink, when you talk about the internet, you might have a backup plan like a Starlink. But
Hmm.
overall, they're never going to keep the grid down because we're moving into everything being digital, and you need the grid.
Right.
Okay, but I do have a question too.
Sure, go
Don't
ahead.
don't shoot me. what happens if they choose? What happens if they choose who they're going to give the grid? Allowed to use the grid because they know who they can cut off sectors as they want to.
So just remember, we're a small pawn on the big chessboard. So if they, we've heard, for instance, in some countries where the internet was down for a few hours. And in that case, it's affecting everybody. Like I said, we're the small pieces on the board, but it's affecting everybody in that area that it's shut down. So you might have a backup plan. For instance, most of us don't have this, but let's say, cell towers are down, as an example. Some people might have, especially when you look at old not old movies, but you watch drug movies where people have satellite phones. They have the satellite phones. They have the satellite phones basically so that they can't be tracked. But from a purpose of what we're talking about, that satellite phone gives them access to a phone when everything's down. But the problem with that is you can only talk to someone who's on another satellite phone.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Pastor Rick Fletcher has a question. He says, if the grid goes down, shouldn't the blockchain maintain its integrity?
Yes. So even if the grid goes down, everything you won't have an issue. Yeah, you're not going to have an issue there.
Sister Barbara says, don't forget about the LLC information.
So actually, let me see. I added it. Yep, there it is. So you see where it says protecting your assets? There it is. Mm-hmm. That is a 15-page PDF that I go over the whole LLC, setting it up with full anonymity. I don't know why I have a hard time with this word. So it shows you how to buy assets through LLC. And when I say assets, I'm not just talking about crypto. I'm talking about any asset. How to buy digital assets, key points to watch, protection breakdown, registered agents, operating agreement, business addresses, how to set up a Wyoming LLC while living in any of the 50 states. So I discuss all of that here.
So then I have another question. So would that defeat the purpose? Like if you set up your LLC anonymously with that word, I have a hard time with that one as well. So if you set up your LLC, say anonymously, right? Would that defeat the purpose if you put it into a trust as well?
No. So then you can put the LLC in a trust, because you'll put the trust in you'll do the same thing with your trust as well. How do I pay for it? Is it linked? Yeah. So Sister Barbara, when you come here, you just click it. I'll just click it. So when you click it, you just, add to cart and you pay. Hit add to cart.
Okay.
And then
another great question. So does that include S corps as well, or just LLCs?
This is just LLC. And then you just proceed to checkout.
So then for the S corp, I would probably say a trust would be better. And then as far as trusts go, I know that we mentioned before that Sister Shar has, she does estate planning and living trusts as well. And if
Yeah.
you need to get in contact with her, I do have a link as well.
Yes. So if you're looking to so for instance, at the end of that document, that PDF here, I mention a couple of places that you can go online to that'll help you set this up. But Sister Shaw is a great place to go as well, because depending on what it is that you're trying to do, she can definitely help set you up.
Someone says, is that in book form? But I believe you said it was in PDF form.
Yeah, it's a PDF, so you
So
can
you
print it out.
off as
You
well.
could, yeah, you can do whatever you want. So, like I said, if you know nothing about crypto, I would advise you to buy this course to help give you a basic understanding. But then these weekly Q&As they're worth their weight in gold if you really want to learn about crypto. And I think everybody should start to, I think what's happened, because crypto is kind of not doing anything at the moment, people don't really think that they need to understand crypto. Because here's what I will tell you just from my own research. When they roll this out 100%, sometime the middle of next year, towards the end of next year, where it's a part of our everyday life, they're going to make it really easy for you. But that's how they're going to rope you into their net. I'm telling you, you want to have knowledge on this stuff. You want to have knowledge on the things that I show you how to be able to weave in and out of their upcoming system. Because if you say to yourself, don't worry, I don't need to, I'll let them take care of it for me, you are setting yourself up for failure. That's my own personal opinion. Because we know that ultimately this is part of the beast system. And the thing that Brother Yakoba and I have always talked about, yes, I love crypto, I enjoy crypto, but it's just a mean, just like money is a tool, it's a means to an end. But it's not what I'm relying. I mean, obviously we all want to rely on the Most High, but what I'm saying here from just a physical aspect of things, you want to be able to get in and out, use this tool to get to whatever your end game is. And that's where having a plan comes into play. We all have to have a plan, whether it's a short-term plan or a long-term plan. If your plan is to get to the continent, then if you don't have the money at the moment, you have to have some type of plan on how you're going to get there. You know, we're not fortunate unless the Most High tells us so. We're unfortunate. We're not going to find a fish that has a whole bunch of gold coin in the mouth for us.
That would be great.
But hey, you never know. Time frame to use crypto. An approximate time frame? I mean, you can use crypto now. I mean, back in 2022, I think it was, I wound up, one of the worst things I ever did, but I bought this Jeep, and I had to put $3,500 down. I didn't have $3,500, but I had $3,500 in crypto, and I just took it from my Coinbase. I had it in my Coinbase account, and I just in minutes just transferred it over to my bank account and gave the guy my debit card and put the down payment. Does that include corpse? So how do I pay for? Oh, I'm just looking to see, or Bitcoin. So unfortunately, there's not going to be no Bitcoin in the fish unless the fish is digital.
Well, are there any other, I guess, major upcoming
Yes,
events?
everybody hit the like button.
Yes, please. Major upcoming events that I guess the mainstream media needs to know about, or at least this community. I know that you
So
said
the
that you're
one
teaching
thing
Monday.
that I'm planning on, I'm just waiting to hear back from Brother Yacoba. We're gonna do a show next week, and the show is gonna be on DeFi. So the term DeFi stands for decentralized finance.
Mm.
The current financial structure that we live in right now is called TradFi, which stands for traditional finance. Well, DeFi is decentralized, which gives every one of us the ability to be our own bank. And now the sad reality, and not the sad in this term, but DeFi was created by a black man named Reggie Middleton. He lives in New York, but because it was created by him and what he was doing, the SEC has taken all his crypto because they have a nefarious agenda in play. But DeFi, which is going to be the backbone of the upcoming financial system, was all created by a black man. His name is
Say,
Reginald Middleton.
what do we create?
That's true.
That's
Look it up.
amazing.
He is the father of DeFi. He's a young guy. He's probably in his early 40s.
That's amazing.
Yep, Reginald Middleton.
Okay, so for those that are kind of like struggling financially,
Yes.
um, and they want to change their mindset, and they're changing their mindset, obviously, but how do they make the first step? Like,
Okay. So let's keep it simple, right? Let's use the KISS method. Let's say every week. So think about when you get paid, what you do with your money. So maybe it's a case where you go out to eat, you do this, you do that, and now you say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna restructure how I spend my money, because I think we all can say to ourselves, you know what? I can probably scrape up $50 to $100 a paycheck easily when I look at the money that I'm wasting on other things. But even if that's not the case, I'm more than certain you can find $5, right? So I think all of us, or the majority of the people in this chat, all have Cash App. So at worst case scenario, through Cash App, you're able to buy Bitcoin. I think you can only buy crypto, but you can also buy stocks. So even if you don't want to set up a fund on E-Trade or through um, Charles Schwab, you can do that all through your Cash App. You can buy some Netflix stock, some Coinbase stock, whatever stock. Um, you can have access to all of that through your Cash App. So that's like the simplest way to invest in something.
mhm, that's good. Well, now.
But I would tell everybody, just think about things that you're spending your money wastefully on, and maybe just rethinking how you're spending it. Or, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain things that you want to do. Like, I'm never going to tell a woman never to go not spend her money on her nails or stuff like that. But I'm just saying there's things that we spend money on that if you probably sat down and looked, you didn't need to really spend it on. And you can take that extra money and invest. And like I said, If you're not investing, you are doing yourself a disfavor, because the way the financial system is set up, it's set up for debt. So you have to try to do something to, as they say, hedge against their debt system. And again, yes, this is definitely not financial advice. This is just about thinking about what you're currently doing on a day-to-day basis with your money. And you all probably have skills that you didn't even think about that you can translate into making some extra money.
Elaborate.
A lot of people like to cook, whether it be cooking something, baking something, whatever. I'm more than certain that there are people in this chat, or people who will listen to this down the road, and they have an ability that they didn't even realize they can monetize.
True. And like, to your point, it's like, going back to your mindset, it's like, what is in my hand? What can I do?
Correct. And because of the digital world, you can create something. Like I said, the easiest thing, write a book and turn it into a ebook and put it on Amazon, and now you making money while you sleep. You don't have to actually be out there peddling it. Perfect example, Brother Jacobo and his books. When somebody's asleep, when he's asleep, somebody's up, and they're out there on Amazon, they see his book and buy it. He just made some money, and he didn't have to do anything. It's just it's perpetual earning.
Yes. So it just sounds like everything is just going digital, which it is and has,
Yeah,
even including how you make money.
so true.
And even if you have a product that is not, I guess, technically digital, but you have maybe like an online store, that's something as well.
Yeah, an online store, whether it be physical. Now, think about this, because this is something that Coco G and I've talked about, more so when I say talked about, just because something that she wants to do. But here's the beauty of it. Sister Stephanie, you and I both know you're not a web developer, but there's tools in place that you've been able to build a website.
Yes,
And
yes.
and we both know, like, there's services like PayHip that you can create a simple website. They will put together everything for you, but there are also means out there where you can sell a product on your website, but you're drop shipping it. So you don't ever have to buy that product. You're not storing it somewhere, hoping that someone buys it. You are basically showing that product on your website. People are buying it, but it's tied to the physical company that actually has that product, and they're drop shipping it for you. So you don't have to do anything. You just have to collect a check.
I'm glad you said that, because that segues us into our businesses as well. So we have one, it stands for Always Producing Top Tier Manufacturing Healthcare Yields. So that's one that, I was able to build with the website creation, as well as YaliGifted.com, which is Sister Darlene's cosmetic product line. And then there's always StayReady.com, which is like an emergency preparedness website as well. So these are all websites that are built digitally and that sell products.
Can we do you want to show them?
Oh, sure. Let me see how
Can
to do it.
you let's see. Can you text me the links?
Sure. And then meanwhile, while I text you the links, there are two questions.
Okay.
How fast is the return?
So, okay. So okay, when you say how fast is the initial return, it all depends on what you're talking about. But there are certain things that when you talk about an initial return, you might look at what the monthly return is on what you're investing. But when it comes to stocks or crypto, you don't look at it in terms of a necessarily initial return. You're looking at as the bigger picture, or you have a a structure in place. So as an example, there's an Excel spreadsheet that I have when you come to the membership area as an example. I'll show this as an example, and then I'll show the websites. So for instance, collections, video on demand. Here. So this is all part of exclusive area. But when you come here, you'll see this swing trading crypto management. So when you come here, there's this crypto price analysis and fair and greed. I'm gonna just show you this real quick. The fair and greed as an example. Okay. Okay, so as an example, this is a fair and greed sheet that I set up that my members can download. The importance here is to be able to track your profits and your losses. So as an example with this sheet here, what you're looking at here on the left is a couple of investments that in total are $450. So this as an example, let's say this was 3 months ago. And now 3 months later, you're looking to see how much that has grown. And now you've taken that information, you've moved it over into the right-hand column. And so what you're seeing is that this $450, so as an example, this here XRP at using this example, you had 100 XRP at a price of $2.25, and it now is worth $3.50. You're looking at a value from $225. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger too. $225 has now gone to $350. So that's an increase of $125. So what you're seeing here is you've gone from $450 to $700, meaning you had an increase in profit of $250. But what it also shows you is where that profit came. And the reason that's important is because if you're just looking at, so let's say you have 10 investments and you see, oh, you're up $10,000. Well, you really might only be up $10,000 on one out of the 9 investments. So if you don't have it broken down, you don't really know where that money is coming from. So this is all a part of being organized and having a way to see what I have, what it's worth, and where is the value coming from. Because so one of the ways that I have made money in crypto is saying to myself, okay, this crypto has gone up in value, these haven't, but I'm going to take, because we don't always have perpetual money to spend. So instead you say, okay, I've made a profit of $125. I'm going to take those profits and use it to buy another crypto that I don't have the money to buy. So that's just another way of doing so. Now, I just want to show you all Sister Stephanie's websites that she mentioned. So this is the first one. This is, and Sister Stephanie, you can go ahead and talk to the All Praise the Most High LLC.com. This is her always producing top tier manufacturing and healthcare yields.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I was able to build it with a website builder, but you know, all the images and stuff, they have them on the website builder. But basically, what our company does is our proficiency and efficiency is in manufacturing as well as technical writing and public health. So basically, we help small scale businesses grow from small scale to either mid-size or even a large scale manufacturing company. So I also helped and partnered with Sister Darlene's company, YaliGifted.com, to scale it from small scale, which we're still growing, but to scale it from where it started to where it is now. And then we're projected to grow even bigger. So if anybody needs help with like technical writing or public health assessments or even website building, although I'm not a website builder, but I mean, I am pretty good at it now, you know, but even though I'm not technically a website builder, I can do that as well. And this is Sister Darlene's website, YaliGifted.com, where she has shea butter as well as deodorant and toothpaste and citric face oil. So, Sister Darlene, if you wanted to speak about your business, go ahead.
Yes. Actually, a few years ago, I was going through life-changing events. And when I started Yali Gifted, because I was retired, I was just going to, it was to go, I wanted to maybe go sit with elderly patients. And so I was just going to get bonded and make my hours where if you had a, a elderly or a senior that needed someone to sit with them for a little time, that was what I had planned on doing. But in the meantime, because I was making these products, these things for myself and giving them away to my family and stuff, and then I ran into Sister Shar, and it got pushed over into um, making natural products that are healthy and chemical free, that we can eliminate the toxins and things that are in those products that we buy over the counter. And what Sister Stephanie has done too is took it to another level, because the website that takes you to PayHip was not as professional as this. So I really appreciate all the exposure and everything that she has done to make uh, this more professional. So yeah, and we're still a work in progress, but I'm happy to and thankful to the Most High for all that I am adventuring on in this time of my life.
And this is the third website.
Which we're still working on as well, but it's operable. It's operable. But this one is always stay ready, so it's an emergency preparedness store.
Nice.
So, So I was like, what a better time to have this, right? Especially with all the things that are going on, and especially even after you check Covenant Awakenings, which constantly talks about what's happening in the world. Is best to be prepared, not only financially with the Brother Fast
Correct.
Nickel, but also physically, with actual physical things, just in case you do have to get up and go. So right there, that's just a picture of a solar panel that's collapsible, and you're able to carry it wherever you go. But there's also other items that are on the website that will help them. We'll be adding more products to the website as we go as well. So feel free to visit and purchase.
This one here, this $300. I mean, I don't know how much, what the charge will be that you'll be able to use that electricity, but I know for me, once over on the continent or wherever the Most High sends me, I definitely want to have solar set up.
Oh yeah. It'll save you so much. And then also, especially even if you're on the continent, even here, it saves on the electric bill. But over there, definitely with different climates, it will, reduce the heat as well. And, the electric that needs to, generate to cool the house.
And just as a side note, if you have solar, you can also mine Bitcoin.
What?
You wouldn't want to do it because the electrical bill could be too much. But if you're using solar, now you can mine Bitcoin.
Wow, I guess that's another conversation too with the mining. Like, if anyone doesn't know what mining is.
Yeah.
So do you teach the mining in your like the basics level, I guess?
Yeah, so mining is just basically buying a device that is, because remember, big crypto is all digital, so it's just buying a device that is creating a crypto for you. Right now, like, it's not worth it to me, just because of the electrical bill. It's just not really worth it. But if I were living on the continent, at that point, I might say to myself, okay, I'm going to spend $20,000 on, I mean, they have miners for a couple of $100, but I don't necessarily believe that they're totally worth it. But if I were to do it, and maybe I spent, let's say, $20,000 on a miner that's creating me Bitcoin, that would be worth it, especially because now when I say worth it, it might take a few months to a year to recoup my investment, but after that, it's basically another form of generating revenue.
That's so smart.
Now, everybody knows me from crypto, but just so you know, Fast Nickel is what I basically went to school for, and I've been doing all my adult life. Is I do web graphic design. And so if you ever come to Fast Nickel, that's what you will see. And it is all about designing, email marketing, web design, social media, creative. So obviously there are tools out there that you can be your own designer. You don't need somebody to do it, but this is what I do. And again, like Sister Stephanie was showing you, to be quite honest, all it takes is you putting a little bit of effort in. There's everything out here in these digital streets to do anything. Like, I'm no mechanic, but anytime I needed to fix something on my car, I would just go to YouTube and learn how to do it and do it myself. So we can do that with anything. Like I said, I'm not a chef, but I'm quick to go on YouTube like just 2 days ago, I went on YouTube, got a recipe to make some salmon with with, with some heavy cream. I just whipped up a little dish,
So
but
you made it? Wow.
I just went on YouTube. I mean, we don't have just because of laziness, but if you take the moment to just take the time, everything is out here for you.
Yes.
Mhm.
So ignorance is a choice. Ignorance is a choice,
Ignorance is a
especially
choice.
now.
We need to put that on the shirt. Ignorance is a choice, family.
Yeah. And you make shirts as well too.
Yeah, but you know what? We all can make shirts.
Yes, you
Like,
can.
like I don't have the secret potion. We all can do it. You just have to take the time to want to do it, to go and
Mhm.
search it out, search a matter out. Everything we're talking about is all scripturally based. I mean, you can find the scriptures that talk about this kind of stuff.
I agree. And these are all different sources of income,
Exactly.
digital products and digital assets, investing, crypto. These are the seven streams of income, and even eight, you'll be even more blessed that the scripture talks about.
And I just want everybody to know, I don't I don't claim to be this Wizard of Oz that knows everything. I have made plenty of mistakes of myself, but I'm trying to help others not make some of the mistakes that I made in the past. And I also I can't cook. Trust me.
And not just water, not just boiled water, huh?
Listen, my best meals are a hot dog and spaghetti.
You can't go wrong with spaghetti.
But I tell you, Sister Coco G, boy, I would laugh at her because boy, she could whip up something from nothing. There could be like nothing in the refrigerator. She could whip something up, boy. I never seen anything like it.
It's a blessing.
And sorry, and Sister Stephanie, you've
Mhm.
done a commendable job. You're not a web designer at all, but this is just an example that you can do it if you because they have templates. You just follow the template.
Mhm. That's
Right,
right.
because getting information like this when I was coming up and younger, it was unheard of. Now you can go on YouTube and other places to get all kind of information. I'm getting ready to change the air filter in my car. Um, you just go on, YouTube, look up the model of the car and how to change the air filter, and it gives
Exactly.
you all the
You
information.
changed the air filter?
Yeah,
Oh
So
I'm gonna
my
and the cabin filter and the air filter. I
exactly.
got them. I bought them from Amazon, but I like to learn. I just sometimes I'm feeling now overwhelmed with time, but learning and the things I've learned over the years by uh, just searching out. I mean, it's so much easier now to find information instead of going to the library, going through index cards. Y'all don't know about that, but
Listen,
so
I was just gonna say, because most everybody here is 50 and older. So we all remember the day when we would be in high school and our teacher all of a sudden would say, "Hey, you got to do a paper and it has to be typed." Man, that was like a big deal because for me to have to type something, I had to go to my cousin's house, who I had to take a bus and a train to his house, living in New York City, because nobody had typewriters. Like he was the only one, or you would go to the library and maybe be able to use a typewriter. But for those that don't remember microfilm, Like
Mhm.
they didn't have it on books. They would have to take you to a room and say, "Oh, it's on microfilm." And, and it's,
Yeah.
I mean, the things that we had to do for knowledge, like kids don't even realize how convenient life is right now.
Right.
It's
There are
very
no
convenient.
excuses.
Right. Yes.
I don't even know what microfilm is. It sounds familiar, but
Yeah, like for instance, if
I
you want
remember
to look
floppy
at
disk. I remember that.
old newspaper articles from the New York Times,
Oh,
they
yes.
they
Okay.
had it on microfilm. So they would give you this little, this tin round tin cylinder
Right.
where the film was. Basically, think of it like a negative. And I know that most people don't know negatives because we don't have physical we don't even use cameras anymore in the traditional sense. But you would take that roll of film, you would have to put it in the machine, string it up, and now you're scrolling through. I mean, we've forgotten more. If you're 50 and
Wow.
older, we've forgotten more things than people even. Listen, I remember early days talking to my cousin. Like my first car I had an 8-track player. Most people don't know
Yes.
what an 8-track player is.
No.
I just got rid of some 8 tracks before I moved to Georgia.
I hope you sold them for a good price.
No, I gave them away, but yeah, and they was getting
Way
kind
to
of
go.
old, and they
Listen,
wouldn't.
we're getting to a point where people don't even remember what cassettes are.
Yes.
Now remember
And not only
cassettes. I
that, you
do.
don't even find CD. It's hard to find a CD player
Yes.
because the cars nowadays they don't even come with CD players,
Mm-hmm.
and neither do computers.
Right.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And
So
then
it's
the
a
floppy disk that you used to have to put in the computer, and that's another thing when as technology keep advancing, um, the old stuff is being where you might not be able to use it anymore. So that's kind of like a pet peeve of mine because I like my pictures in my hand and not on so much on the internet or in your phone. But yeah, that's to me that's a problem when you have to when you lose all your information or your pictures because you change phones or it no longer supports that device anymore.
Well, D. Wimbley, I know who that is. That's one of my favorite. That's my biggest fan. Sister Stephanie knows who that is.
I do, I do. Hey, Mom.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, we love Sister Dahlia. And it's definitely Brother Fast Nickel and Coco G. Y'all are the truth when it comes to crypto and investments. You talk the lingo. You talk the lingo.
And again, I don't know everything. I just know I do know that when it comes to crypto, I know more than most, but I don't know
Mhm.
everything.
But you know enough. You know enough.
Well, sometimes you could say you know just enough to be dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yes. And that's another mindset. I know we're coming up on almost 2 hours, but that's another mindset. It's like, um, you have a wealth of knowledge, and majority of us do. Pretty much all of us do have a wealth of knowledge. We can't be afraid to put a price on it. Okay,
Correct.
you can't be
And
afraid to
I'm
put a
guilty
price
of
on it.
that. I'm definitely guilty of that, being guilty of putting a price. One thing, so years ago, for a short period of my life, I did timeshare, and I absolutely loved it. The wealth of knowledge I learned from selling timeshare, but the thing that they would stress, and this is about life in general, don't do things for the money because when you do things for the money never comes. You do it for the
Mm,
love of what you're doing, and the money will come in abundance.
That's definitely a mental shift. Because most people, especially now in the times that we're living in, live out of a scarcity mindset as well as a survival
Correct.
mindset.
That is so true.
So I guess another question before we conclude, and it still kind of asks the same question that I asked before. How do you shift it? Like, especially if someone is in a scarcity mindset as well as a survival mindset.
I'll tell you another term that they would tell us in timeshare is you have to do something that you're uncomfortable with in order to become comfortable.
Mm.
So whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with doing, until you take that first leap to do it, you're not going to break that chain of uncomfortness.
That is so true. Because
Mhm.
I'm uncomfortable doing this, but
Even if there's something that you're uncomfortable with, even if that means that you need somebody to hold your hand as you do it.
And I do. I'm a baby.
Think about riding a bike. So a person who is 2-3 years old learning to ride a bike, they don't just jump on a bike and try to ride a bike. Somebody is there. Like I remember my dad holding the bike as I'm pedaling, and he's guiding me along until I then feel a little comfortable to where he lets go and I'm actually pedaling myself. So the same thing, if it's something that whatever it is in life that you're uncomfortable with, if you know someone who knows how to do what you're trying to do a little better than you do it, get their assistance to help guide you so that then you can fly off like birds. The mother bird, she helps guide guide baby bird first, but then the baby bird goes off and flies on its own.
mm-hmm.
When you look at a lot of people who become famous and whatever it is they do, or whatever, even if they're not famous, they didn't get there on their own. A lot of times they had somebody that mentored them in one way. And that's another mindset. It's so important to have a mentor. And it's not a case of having one mentor. You might have a so for instance, for a lot of us, we would look at Brother Yakova and Brother Teao as our spiritual mentors, or even maybe a Pastor Rick Fletcher as our spiritual mentor, right? But we wouldn't necessarily go to them for financial mentorship because they're not financial inclined. So instead, you go to a different mentor for your finance. You go to a different mentor for your physical health. You may have multiple mentors. So don't think that you have to have one mentor for everything.
Right. So I ran across this video with this neuroscientist, and I think I sent it to Sister Stephanie, and she was saying, and I may not be able to explain it all right, but she was saying how the brain likes routine.
Okay.
And anytime you get out of your routine into a something that's new to the brain, you have this conflict and it's uncomfortable until it becomes a routine. So
it's called neuroplasticity. Is
yes,
where it's
exactly.
like, yeah, it's like, I mean, of course they get it from the Bible. It's renewing your mind every day, but
Yeah,
it's rewiring your brain to learn something new and to be comfortable with that something new, instead of when you have, it's changing your mindset pretty much. It's like if you have fear of doing something, turn the fear into what's the word for it? It's not, it's like anticipation. Yeah. Instead of fear, turn it into anticipation. So instead of saying, something's not going to happen, or, it might turn out bad, change it and say, hey, it'll turn out good. What if this works out for my good?
Right.
So
And I learned as working in therapy that when you go to a senior or someone, an older person home or something, if that person doesn't want to make the changes, or they think they're gonna be in this big old house that they're not able to maintain, and they don't want to make the changes, usually they end up somewhere like in a nursing facility because they don't fail or something. I always wanted to keep learning, and I ask the Most High every day, let me change, in the things that I need to change
Mhm.
in, and keep growing, because you get left behind when or you don't use your brain, or you don't use your talent, or you don't want to keep learning. And and then also, like I said, being able to change with things that you really need to in life.
Yeah,
Don't
and
get stuck in your ways when you old. That's what I'm saying.
that's like,
I don't have any official information to verify what I'm about to say, but when you think about Alzheimer's, and again, I don't have any reference. I'm not a medical aficionado, so what I'm saying may be totally incorrect. But what one of the things that keeps our mind busy, like everybody has a phone, and we probably have one or two games on your phone. And if you're retired, sitting around doing nothing is not good for you.
Mm-mm.
So you need to keep your brain stimulated, doing something,
Right.
and that's
playing a
so true.
game.
And learning,
Yeah, learn.
learning, make those neurals, I can't say that.
Neurons and,
Yeah.
axons, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
axons. You actually initiate new neurological pathways when you start learning different things, and
Right.
that activates your brain even more.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
to the point of the question that Vanessa King mentioned about
sorry, let me put it
trying to
back
keep
up.
growing, keep moving towards the goal. So one thing that I came to the realization when this was back in 2001, where the first time I was working for myself. So think about this. Everybody has a 9 to 5 job. Think about how much time at that job you waste doing nothing. And you don't even think about it because you got a paycheck at the end of the week, regardless, whatever you're doing, right? But and so what I mean by that is you come to work, let's say you're drinking some coffee, you're walking around, you're not getting you're getting paid for your time no matter what you're doing, so you don't really think about what you're doing. But let's say you now are working for yourself, where you're what you're doing has to generate income. So time is very valuable for you. So the thing that I would do is the night before, I would write down on my notepad the things that I needed to do the next morning. So for instance, I would write down from 8 to 8:30, drink coffee and read my emails. Then at 9:45, I'm going to spend this amount of time doing this. You know, um, at let's say 11:30 to 1 o'clock, that's the time I'm going to spend calling clients. Um, I would just break down my day in modules of what I needed to do so that I'm not sitting around. Because how many times do you sit around and say, so what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, that is your wasting of time. And I'm a big stickler about wasting of time because time is the only asset
Mhm.
you never get back. So if you're working for yourself and you're the one generating revenue, by sitting down and putting a plan, just like I showed you about putting a plan for your finances, put a plan for your time of how you're going to allocate your time so that you're not wasting it. You say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use this time to drink my coffee and to read my emails. I'm going to use this time to call clients. I'm going to use this time to do this and so forth, so that you can at least feel that you've used your time productively.
I agree. It seems like the Hebrews do the same thing because that's exactly what I used to do as well. It's just allocate my time and allocate what I'm going to be doing for the day so that every minute counts, and
Exactly.
I'm not idle. But to your point, time is a very great asset, and invest it well, because that's something you can't get back.
Exactly. It's something you can't get back.
Right.
Before the ladies call it a day, is there any one last question before we go? And if not, I guess Sister Stephanie and Sister Darlene, you can take us out of here whenever you're willing and ready.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you know what, Brother Fastnuggle, this was such a great live,
yeah.
and can't wait to have you back, when your busy schedule permits. And, this was such a great live, and it was very informative. I learned a whole bunch stuff that I really have to go and start implementing now, while things are low.
Right.
Well, I,
You
I
know,
And
thank you.
also, I'm sorry. Also, uh, thank you for, as Stephanie says, thank you for coming. And now you are our honorary first guest.
Woohoo!
Wish I knew how to work this to give you some likes and some celebratory things.
Yes, so thank you, and thank everyone else too in the
See, I,
chat.
I can do
Wow.
it.
Everyone in the chat and those that took time out to be with us today too is greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then just one last thing before
Go
our
ahead.
outro plays. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you said you had one last thing.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, just remind us of your business, even though it's right here, but just remind us of your business.
So fastnickel.com is if you need graphic help, but from a crypto standpoint, it's learn crypto 101.info. And like I said, if you're new, totally new, my advice is this $24 course after January 1st is going back to its regular price. But then outside of that, the weekly member, like I said, the basic membership is literally $2.50 a week. But the exclusive is where you get access to everything. But if you just want the weekly Q&As, it's more than worth its weight in gold. But
I
I'm not
definitely
here to
agree.
spend anybody's money. That's a decision that everyone has to make on their own. And
I
again,
definitely
Dolly Gifted, All Praise the Most High, LLC, and
I'll
let me
put in the chat. Always stay ready.com.
always stay ready. That Always Stay Ready is a great website.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Brother Fastnuggle. I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to do this again, especially after you explain what, DeFi is. We're definitely going to tune in onto Tayal Ministries, right? It's going to be streamed on Tayal Ministries.
Yeah, so I think I'm just waiting on them, but I think we're going to do something early next week. But I'm going to tell you all right now, when I talk about DeFi, I've done my best to simplify it because I know that when I talked about it, in my Q&A last week, I had everybody's head spinning.
I would imagine you'd be like, what?
They're like, yeah, they're like, what?
I definitely want to learn more about being your own bank, because I've never understood really the concept. I mean, I don't want to go any longer, but but I can't wait to tune in. But I never really understood the concept of the bank until now.
Gotcha.
So the fact of the matter is that you said that, we could do DeFi and become our own bank. I can't wait to tune in. And then just one last thing, guys,
Yes.
you need to use Wise, right?
I think everybody should set up a Wise account because especially if your plan is to travel, you definitely need to set up a Wise account.
Yes, for sure. Then we have a couple more comments. Oh, okay.
And thank you, Cynthia. If you become a member, you will learn a lot. And that's not just me saying it. Everybody who's been tells me all the time.
Yes. Well, all right. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you, our honorary guest, Brother Fast Nickel, and hopefully continue guests as well, when we do schedule more lives. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Sister Darlene. You can visit her website at yalligifted.com to purchase some of her cosmetic products. And then, of course, if you need technical writing or even like a landing page, even though I'm not a website developer, you go to All Praises to the Most High LLC.com. And then if you need preparatory products, then you go to alwaysstayready.com. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate everyone's support, and shalom to everybody. Have a good one.
Shalom, everyone.
Whoa.
Shalom.